this video is for our kindergarten through first grade team for January week 4. So our theme for the whole month has been work it out, stick to the plan, and we've been talking about how we can show commitment all month long. So making a plan and putting it into practice. The first week we talked about practicing hearing and doing what God says. Then week 2 we talked about practicing praying. Last week we talked about practicing praying to God, practicing talking about God. And this week for week 4, our story is going to be about the widow's offering. And our bottom line is going to be practice living for God. So our memory verse for this month, it's a long one. Hopefully we have some kids that have it memorized by this last week. And it says, training the body has some value, but being godly has value in every way. It promises help for the life you are living now and the life to come. 1 Timothy 4:8. So this is a fun one this week. We're going to jump into our lessons. When you get here at 8:30 and 10:30, make sure that you're really getting here at that time, because if you get here late, you miss out on this step. And guys, this is probably the most important thing the whole morning. Just taking a couple minutes to pray for your small group. Pray for the kids that have been here by name this month. Just ask God to help you to encourage your kids to live for Him and to show others the love of God. So just really make sure, if for no other reason, to get here on time, just to take a couple minutes to pray for your small group. So then when kids start to roll in at 8:40 and 10:40, you'll play with your toys, ask about their week, make sure you know all their names. If you have any first-time guests, make sure that you're helping them to feel welcome and comfortable. And then here are some questions, some little icebreaker questions you can ask. You'll have some pennies in your cart, so you can set out a couple pennies, have kids stack them or arrange them, just play with them, and you can be asking them, so guys, do you know how much a penny is worth? How many pennies do you think it would take to buy a pack of gum or a candy bar or a video game? What if you only had 2 pennies? What would you do with them? So then you'll go into your interactivity at 9 and 11, and it's a really fun little experiment. So in your cart up here at the top, you have these little baggies full of coins. So each kid is going to get a baggie. First service, if you could put your coins, have all your kids kind of keep their coins separate and put them back in their individual baggies for second service, that would be super helpful for the second service people. So you'll give each kid a bag of coins, and then each kid will get 1 cotton ball, 1 little piece of foil, and then 1 popsicle stick. So, and those are all down in the bottom of your cart. And what you're going to do is you're going to let, so the kids already have their sets of coins in their bags, and you're going to give each kid a piece of aluminum foil, and you're going to show them how to put the foil over the coin and then rub it with their finger so it makes a little rub on the coin. And then they can just kind of experiment. You can say, so guys, what if you put a different coin underneath that same spot and you rub it? What's going to happen? Or what happens if you put a coin on a different surface and then try to rub it? What happens if you try to rub the coin with a cotton ball? Or what happens if you rub the coin with a craft stick? Just kind of let them experiment with it. And then when you close out, you're going to say, so how much is a penny worth? And how much is a nickel and a dime and a quarter? Which is what they have in their bags. They have all those different coins in their bags. And then you can say, well, in our Bible story today, we're going to hear about a time when Jesus said that 2 pennies were worth more than hundreds or even thousands of quarters. So we're going to go to large group and find out why that is. So you'll head across the hall to large group. Just make sure that you're sitting with your students, helping them to engage in the story and worship with them. And then when you get back to your room, you're going to do a review activity called Who Gave More? So like I said, you're going to have a baggie full of pennies. And you're going to have 2 towels, and the towels are down in the bottom of your cart. What you're going to do is you're going to set out 1 towel, and you're going to guide kids to gather around it, and you're going to pour the pennies onto the towel. And you're going to put 100 pennies on 1 towel and then 2 pennies on the other. So what I'll do is I'll have 2 baggies on your cart of pennies. 1 baggie will have 102 pennies in it, and then the other baggie will have pennies that you're going to give to kids at prayer time to take home. So I'll have those labeled. That way you just know you take 2 of the pennies out of the 1 bag and put it on the towels. So, okay, you're going to put 2 pennies in 1 pile and 100 on the other, and then you're going to have kids close your eyes, or they can turn their backs if you think, and then you're going to take away 1 penny from the pile of 2 and have kids open their eyes and say, do you guys know which pile is missing some pennies? And do you know how many are missing? So hopefully if you just take 1 away from the 2, they're going to notice, oh, I took 1 away from the 2. So then you're just going to keep going. You'll say, okay, close your eyes again. And then sometimes you might take 1 away from the 2. And then sometimes you might take 10 or 20 away from the pile of 100, and you can just hide them behind your back or in the second towel. And then during each round, you're going to have kids guess how many pennies are missing from each pile. And then on the final round, you're going to take 2 pennies away from the pile of 2 and 10 pennies away from the pile of 100. And then when you ask the kids to guess how many pennies are missing, they'll definitely notice the 2 that are missing, and that might be the only ones that they notice. And then you're going to show them, well, guys, I also took away 10 from this big pile. And then you're just going to talk about, even though the widow only gave a little bit of money, she actually put more in than the others because she gave everything she had. So then you're going to read these little scenarios, and you're going to have kids give a thumbs up if the person practiced living for God, and a thumbs down if they didn't. And then here's your hint. Each scenario is a thumbs up. So each one of these people practiced living for God. So you'll just read those to your group, and then you'll close by saying, so guys, why did Jesus say that the widow gave more than the others? Oh, yeah, Puck, very cool. Yeah, she gave everything. Even though it was only a little bit of money, she gave everything she had, and she practiced living for God. So how can you practice living for God? Can you share your toys even when you don't want to? Can you let your brother play your video game for 30 minutes instead of just 5 minutes? Could you give half of your allowance to a missions fund to Oak Ridge Kids Haiti? Could you read a story to your little sister even though you want to be left alone? So then make it personal and just tell kids about a way that you're going to practice living for God by giving your time or energy or money in a way that shows love and trust toward God. And just remember, our bottom line is practice living for God. So then for the memory verse review, you have in a baggie on the front of your folder 2 dice. And one has like spiritual things on it, so talking to God, praying, telling your friends about God, hearing and doing are bottom lines for the month. And the other one has physical activities, so like running, bouncing a basketball, kicking a soccer ball, doing jumping jacks. So what you're going to do is you're going to look up 1 Timothy 4:8, practice saying the verse together with motions, and then talk about being godly has value in every way. So kind of what does that mean? And then have a child roll the dice and have them act out the 2 things that are on the dice. So if they're training the body, they might be doing jumping jacks. That has some value, but being godly, hold on, Henry, hold on. I'll get you some in just a second. Hey, just a second. Maybe they rolled praying, so they'll show that they have praying. That has value in every way. So you're just going to keep going, let every kid have a chance to roll the dice, and at the end of the game, say the verse again. So then you'll just close by saying, so guys, what does it mean to say something has value? Yeah, it means it's important. And 1 Timothy 4:8 says that training our bodies has some value, but being godly has value in every way. What do you think that means? And then there's a little answer in parentheses. And since being godly is so important, what are some ways you can practice being godly? And there's ways. Okay, then to close with prayer, you're just going to need your other bag of pennies, the pennies that you can give out. You're going to have the kids gather around you, give each kid 2 pennies, and then encourage the kids to let the pennies remind them to practice living for God, just like the widow in today's story. So remind kids, especially kindergartners, we don't put coins in our mouth, just FYI. And then just close them down in prayer and ask God to help you both. Ask God to help both you and them live for Him. So as kiddos leave, if they haven't been here yet this week or this month, make sure they get their parent cue and their memory verse card. And then remind them to tell their parents or someone in their family the story of the widow who practiced living for God. That's it this week, guys. Thank you so much for serving. I appreciate you all so much, and I'll see you on Sunday.